The year was 5126. Earth had changed a lot in 3,000 years, but some things stayed the same. People still drank coffee in the morning. They still laughed at bad jokes. And in Seoul, the capital city now stretched high into the sky, with shining towers and floating platforms. Lights glowed everywhere at night. Holographic signs floated above the streets like colorful clouds. In the heart of the city stood the United Nations Orbital Command Center. It was buried deep under a mountain, but its main room looked out over the night sky through huge clear walls. Screens covered every wall. People in simple uniforms sat at desks, talking quietly or checking data. No one looked scared. No one ran around shouting. Rear Admiral Ji-hoon Kim sat in his chair at the center of the room. He was a tall man with short black hair and calm eyes. He wore a dark blue uniform with small silver stars on the shoulders. In his hand was a white cup of instant coffee. Steam rose from it slowly. He took a small sip and watched the big main screen. The screen showed a bright hologram. It was not from Earth. It came from space, far away. A tall, thin alien stood there. His skin looked like dark crystal. His eyes glowed purple. He wore a long robe made of shining metal threads. This was the Emperor of the Vexari High Dominion. Behind him stood rows of other Vexari in sharp armor. Their ships floated in the background, long, black, and pointed like knives. The Emperor spoke in a deep, cold voice. The words came through translators so everyone could understand. "People of Earth," he said, "the Galactic Concord truce ends today. After 3,000 years, we declare it over. Your kind has spread too far. You breed like insects. You refuse to bow. You hide your weakness behind silence. Now the time for silence is finished." He raised one long finger. "Our fleets move. Millions of ships. We will cleanse your worlds. We will burn your cities. We will take your stars. Surrender now, or face nothing but ash." The hologram flickered. Then it showed pictures. Huge Vexari warships flew in perfect lines. Their weapons glowed red. Planets in the background turned black and cracked. It was meant to scare everyone. In the command room, no one moved. A few people looked at each other. One young officer smiled a little. Ji-hoon took another sip of coffee. It was still hot. He put the cup down slowly. Then he laughed. It was not a big laugh, just a short, quiet one, like he heard a funny story from a friend. Captain Ha-eun Park sat next to him. She had short hair and sharp eyes. She was good at ships and weapons. She leaned back in her chair and crossed her arms. "They really think we're still using chemical rockets?" she said. Her voice was calm, almost bored. More quiet laughs came from around the room. Someone in the back said, "They sound so serious." Another person answered, "Like kids trying to scare us with ghost stories." Ji-hoon turned to the screen. The Emperor was still talking, listing all the ways humanity would die. Ji-hoon pressed a small button on his desk. A soft beep sounded. He spoke into a hidden microphone. "Fleet admirals," he said. His voice stayed even. "Looks like the old neighbors finally remembered we're here. Let's not spoil the surprise too soon. Keep everything quiet for now. Watch, learn, and maybe smile a little." He turned off the microphone. Then he looked at Ha-eun. "How long do you think before they realize?" Ha-eun shrugged. "A week, maybe 2. They always move slow. Big fleets, big plans, no brains." Ji-hoon nodded. He remembered the old stories. 3,000 years ago, the Vexari came to Earth. They were strong then. Their ships could break moons. Their weapons could melt cities. Humanity was young. Ships were small. Weapons were weak. So Earth asked for peace. The Vexari laughed and said yes. But only if humanity stayed small, stayed quiet, stayed in one small part of space. The truce was signed. The Vexari left. They thought they won. They thought humans would stay weak forever. But humans did not stay weak. They worked, they built, they learned, in secret, under the ground, in hidden shipyards, in quiet labs, for 3,000 years. No one told the galaxy, no one bragged, they just waited. Now the wait was over. Ji-hoon stood up. He walked to a side window. Outside, Seoul sparkled. Cars flew between buildings. People walked on sky bridges. Children played in parks with floating balls. Life went on. No panic, no fear. He turned back to the room. "Open a channel to the outer colonies," he said. "Tell them the show started. But no shooting yet. Let the Vexari feel brave for a little while." A young officer named Sujin typed fast. "Message set, sir." Ji-hoon sat down again. He picked up his coffee. It was cooler now, but still good. On the big screen, the Emperor finished his speech. The hologram showed one last image. A black fleet moving toward human space like a storm cloud. Then the feed cut off. Silence filled the room for a second. Then someone said, "Popcorn, anyone?" Laughter broke out. Real laughter this time. Not nervous, not fake. Just normal people finding something funny. Ha-hoon leaned over to Ji-hoon. "You think they'll send the first wave tomorrow?" "Probably," he said. "They like to look strong fast." She smiled. "Good. I've been waiting to test the new drones." Ji-hoon looked at her. "We might need some for later." She laughed. "No promises." The room went back to work. Screens showed maps. Dots moved. Vexari ships in red, human defenses in soft blue. Everything looked normal. No red alerts, no flashing warnings, just calm people doing their jobs. Outside, in the city, people watched the same hologram on their phones and walls. Some pointed, some took pictures. Most just shrugged and went back to eating street food or talking to friends. One old man in a market said to his wife, "Aliens again? They never learn." His wife nodded. "Let them come. Our kids will handle it." Far above, in orbit, hidden stations turned slowly. They looked like simple weather satellites. But inside, long rails waited. Heavy metal slugs sat ready. Engines hummed quietly. They had waited 3,000 years too. Ji-hoon finished his coffee. He put the empty cup in the recycler. Then he looked at the stars through the window. 3,000 years, he said softly. "That's a long time to hold a grudge." Ha-hoon heard him. "Or, a long time to get ready." He nodded. "Yeah, that too." The night went on. Seoul kept shining. The stars stayed quiet. And somewhere in deep space, a huge alien fleet started its engines. They thought they were hunters. They had no idea the prey was laughing. The Vexari did not wait long. Their pride burned hotter than their weapons. Less than one day after the Emperor's speech, the first wave launched. Hundreds of plasma lance cruisers jumped out of hyperspace near the edge of human space. They aimed for the outer colonies in the Orion Arm. These were quiet places, mining stations, farm worlds, small outposts where people grew food and dug metals. The Vexari thought these would be easy, weak, defenseless. The lead ship was called Eternal Judgment. Its commander, a high-ranking Vexari named Kalthor, stood on the bridge. His crystal skin reflected the red glow of control panels. He looked at the view screen. A small blue-green planet appeared. New Busan. A human colony with one big city and many farms. Kalthor smiled with sharp teeth. "Target the main settlement," he ordered. "Fire when in range. Let them see what true power looks like." The fleet moved forward in perfect formation. Shields hummed, weapons charged with bright purple light. They expected screams. They expected ships fleeing. They expected easy victory. On New Busan, the morning sun rose over green fields. Governor Min-sek Lee sat at his kitchen table. He was a round-faced man, with kind eyes and gray in his hair. He wore a simple shirt. His daughter Seo-yun, 12 years old, sat across from him. She ate rice and kimchi with chopsticks. The news hologram floated above the table. It showed the Vexari ships coming closer. Seo-yun looked up. "Dad, are the aliens really attacking?" Minsek took a bite. He chewed slowly. Looks like it. She frowned. Should we hide? He smiled. Finish your rice first. The bugs are back, but they always make noise before they bite. Outside the window, the sky looked normal. Birds flew. A farmer on a hover tractor waved at neighbors. No running crowds. In orbit, hidden platforms floated. They looked like old weather satellites, round, white, boring. No one paid attention to them for 3,000 years. But inside each one, machines woke up. Lights turned green. Long rails extended silently. Heavy metal slugs, each the size of a house, slid into place. Engines warmed without a sound. Minsek's communicator beeped. A calm voice spoke. Governor, outer sensors confirm hostiles. Permission to engage? Minsek wiped his mouth with a napkin. Permission granted. Standard protocol. Keep it clean. Thank you, sir. He turned to Se-Yun. Want to watch? She nodded fast. They walked to the living room. A big window showed the sky. Minsek pressed a button. The window became a screen. It zoomed out to space. The Vexari fleet entered range. Calthor gave the order. Fire! Purple beams shot forward. They raced toward the planet. But before they hit anything, the hidden platforms acted. Silent flashes appeared. No sound in space. Just bright streaks. Railguns fired. The slugs moved so fast they looked like lines of light. They hit Vexari shields. The shields glowed for half a second, then broke. Metal tore open. Ships cracked like eggs. Explosions bloomed in silence. Calthor stared. What? Another volley. More slugs. Faster this time. A whole squadron vanished. One moment there, next moment, clouds of glowing dust. Shields at maximum, Calthor shouted. Return fire. But the human platforms did not stop. They fired again, and again. Each shot perfect. Each hit fatal. The Vexari cruisers tried to turn. Too slow. Human weapons ignored armor, ignored energy fields. Just punched through. On the planet, Se-Yun pointed. Look, Dad. Fireworks. Minsek chuckled. Yeah, pretty ones. In less than 10 minutes, half the fleet was gone. The rest tried to run. Human drones appeared, small black shapes that moved like fish in water. They darted between ships, fired small beams, engines died, weapons failed, ships drifted helpless. Calthor slammed his fist on the console. Open channel. Demand surrender. A signal went out on every frequency. His face appeared on screens across the colony. Humans, you face the might of the Vexari Dominion. Cease resistance. Surrender your worlds or be erased. On New Busan, people watched in bars, in homes, in fields. They laughed. One farmer slapped his knee. Erased? With what? Harsh words? Minsek pressed a button. A reply went back. No words. Just one simple emoji on the open channel. Dot. The emoji appeared huge on the Vexari bridge screen. Calthor stared at it. His officers looked confused. What does this mean? One asked. Before anyone could answer, the last human surprise came. From behind the moon of New Busan, ships appeared. They looked old, rusty freighters, patched hulls, slow engines, but they moved fast. Too fast. They accelerated hard. No one should move like that. Physics said no. These were the Mark IVs, hidden for centuries. Upgraded quietly. Engines used tricks the Vexari never dreamed of. Armor laughed at plasma. Weapons fired things that bent space a little. The first Mark IV flew straight at eternal judgment. Calthor ordered all weapons on it. Beams hit. Torpedoes exploded against the hull. The human ship did not even slow. It kept coming. Then it fired. A single shot. Not bright. Not loud. Just a dark pulse. The Vexari flagship's bridge vanished in a clean hole. Air rushed out. Lights died. Calthor had time for one scream. The rest of the fleet broke. Ships jumped away in panic. Many did not make it. Human drones chased them to the edge of the system. Caught them. Ended them. When it finished, space was quiet again. Wreckage floated. No human ships lost. No people hurt. On New Busan, Min-sok turned off the screen. All done, he said. Seo-yun clapped. That was quick. He ruffled her hair. Yeah, breakfast is getting cold. Far away, on Earth, in a hidden shipyard under Jeju Island, young engineer Taewoo Choi watched the same battle on a monitor. His team stood around him, tools in hands, grease on shirts. Taewoo grinned. Told you the old Mark IV still had it. A woman next to him, Ji-won, laughed. They moved like new, better than new. Another engineer raised a hand. High five for the railguns. Hands slapped together. Cheers filled the room. Back in Seoul, at Orbital Command, Rear Admiral Ji-hoon Kim watched reports come in. 0 casualties. Total enemy loss, 100% of the first wave. Captain Ha-eun Park leaned over his shoulder. They sent their best toys. We used the welcome mat. Ji-hoon smiled. Let them send more. We have plenty of mats. He pressed a button. A message went to all colonies, short and simple. Good work. Stay calm. Eat well. The show is just starting. In the streets of Seoul, people walked to work. Some checked their phones, saw the news, smiled. One taxi driver said to his passenger, "Aliens lost already. Told you." The passenger nodded. They never learn. Above them, the stars looked the same. Peaceful, quiet. But in deep space, the Vexari fleets gathered more ships. Bigger ones. Angrier ones. They thought they still had a chance. They were wrong. The Vexari fleet losses hit their command hard. News spread fast through their crystal networks. Commanders argued in dark halls. The Emperor stayed silent for hours. Then he ordered the next step. Full humiliation. They would not hide the defeat. They would turn it into rage fuel. But humanity had other plans. In a small studio in Incheon, not far from the sea, lights turned on. The room looked plain. White walls, one desk, one chair, a camera on a simple stand. No fancy effects, no dramatic music. Just a woman sitting there with a bright smile. Her name was Soo-min Kim. She worked as a weather broadcaster for years. People liked her because she was calm and funny. Today she wore a gray hoodie with a small cat picture on it. Her hair was tied back loosely. She looked like she just woke up and decided to chat with friends. She waved at the camera. "Hello everyone, especially our new Vexari friends. My name is Soo-min. I do weather reports usually, but today is special." She leaned forward a little. Her voice stayed light and friendly. "We saw your big speech, and your ships. Very shiny, very scary words. Cute really, we laughed a lot here." Behind her a screen appeared. It showed clear pictures from space. Twisted metal, glowing wreckage, Vexari ships broken into pieces. Some still sparked. Others floated dead and cold. Soo-min pointed at the images. "This is what happened to your first group. Sorry about that, but you came first. We just said hello back." She smiled wider. 3,000 years is a long time. You took a nice long nap. We stayed awake. We worked. We built things. Quiet things. Patient things. The screen changed. It showed a simple map of old hyperspace lanes. Red lines crisscrossed space. Then blue dots appeared everywhere along those lines. "Want some free advice?" She sounded like a kind teacher. "Stop using these old paths. We mapped them all in the first year of the truce. Every jump point, every shortcut. Kind of predictable, you know?" She laughed softly. Not mean, just amused. The screen switched again. Now it showed kids on Mars. A playground under a big red dome. Children ran around. They laughed loud. Some held toy guns made of plastic. They pointed at floating holograms of Vexari ships. The holograms exploded in cartoon puffs of smoke. The kids cheered each time. "See?" Soo-min said. "Even our children think it's funny. No one is scared, no one is hiding. We're just entertained. She paused, looked straight at the camera. We don't want war. Never did. The truce was nice. Gave us time. Gave you time too. But you ended it. Okay, your choice. Her smile stayed, but her eyes turned a little serious. If you keep sending ships, we'll get serious too. Not angry, just serious. No hard feelings. But fair warning, next time won't be this gentle. We have more than railguns and old freighters. She shrugged like it was no big deal. Think about it. Talk to your emperor. Maybe take a break. Drink some tea. Eat good food. Reconsider. Su-min waved again. That's all from me. Back to regular weather tomorrow, unless more friends visit. Bye. The broadcast ended. It went out on every frequency the Vexari used. Open channels, military bands, even entertainment waves. No one blocked it. Everyone saw it. In Vexari space, silence fell first. Then anger. Officers shouted. Some smashed panels. The Emperor watched from his throne. His purple eyes narrowed, but his hands clenched tight. Across human worlds, people watched too. In soul cafes, in farmhouses on distant moons, in schools, they clapped, they laughed. Some sent messages to friends. Did you see Su-min? Legend. In the National Archives building in Seoul, Ji Eun-han sat at her desk. She was a historian. Thin glasses, long hair in a bun. She pulled up old files on her screen. Files marked secret. Red stamps, old paper scans. She opened one folder. Project Laughing Tiger. Inside were plans, drawings, notes from 3,000 years ago. Engineers, scientists, soldiers, all working in secret. The project name came from an old story. A tiger that waits, smiles, then strikes. Ji-yeon smiled at the screen. She touched a photo. A group of young people in old uniforms. They grinned at the camera. One held a sign. We wait, we win. She whispered, You were right. Back at Orbital Command, Rear Admiral Ji-hoon Kim watched the broadcast replay. Captain Ha-hoon Park stood beside him. She did good, Ha-hoon said. Short, sweet, perfect. Ji-hoon nodded. No threats, no boasts, just truth. They hate that most. Ha-hoon crossed her arms. Think they'll stop? No, he said. They'll come harder. Bigger fleets, more anger. Good, she replied. I'm bored of small fights. Ji-hoon looked out the window. Earth turned slowly below. Cities glowed. Oceans sparkled. Send word to the fleets, he said. Prep Phase 2 defenses. But keep smiling. Let them wonder why we're not afraid. Messages went out. Quiet orders. Ships moved into position. Drones woke up in deeper space. Hidden yards, opened doors. In Busan, an old man sat on a bench by the sea. He watched the waves. His grandson played nearby with a toy spaceship. The boy ran over. Grandpa, did you see the lady on TV? She talked to aliens. The old man nodded. Yes, she did. Was she scared? The old man laughed. No, not at all. The boy tilted his head. Why not? Because, the old man said, we've been ready longer than they can imagine. The boy smiled big. Cool. Far out in space, Vexari ships gathered. Thousands now. Dreadnoughts, carriers, planet breakers. Engines roared. Weapons charged. They pointed straight at Sol, at Earth. They thought numbers would win. They thought fear would come. They were wrong on both. On a rooftop in Busan that night, Ha-hoon Park met friends for drinks. They sat with bottles of soju. City lights twinkled below. One friend raised a glass, to Su-min, and to the next part. They clinked glasses, laughed. Ha-hoon looked up at the stars. Yeah, she said, to the next part. The stars looked back, silent, patient, just like the people below. The Vexari Emperor made his choice. No more small attacks. No more testing. He gathered everything. Thousands of dreadnoughts, planet killers with barrels wide enough to swallow moons. carriers that held millions of fighters. The core fleet moved as one dark cloud toward Sol, toward Earth. They jumped through hyperspace in waves. Each jump shook the stars a little. They thought size would win. They thought terror would follow. On Earth, no alarms screamed, no cities emptied. People went to work, children went to school, markets stayed open. But under the surface, things moved, quietly, surely. In the Sol system, the defense grid waited. It was not one big ship. It was millions of small things. Drones the size of cars. Hidden platforms in the rings of Saturn. Mass drivers buried in Mercury's hot rock. Rail lines stretched from the sun to the Oort cloud. All connected. All awake now. Do-hyun Park stood on the bridge of the flagship Hwaram. He was tall and quiet. His uniform was plain black. No shiny medals, just a small pin shaped like a tiger. He looked at the main screen. Red dots filled it. Vexari ships coming in fast. Status, he said. A young officer answered. All grids online. Drones in position. Stealth fields holding. They don't see us yet. Do-hyun nodded once. Good. Let them get close. Let them feel safe first. He opened a channel. Not secret. Open. To every Vexari ship. His face appeared on their screens. Calm. Almost bored. Vexari forces, he said. You declared war. We accept. But one warning. We have run this fight 1,000 times in our heads. In our machines. You lose every time. Round 2 starts now, if you want it. No more words needed. The Vexari commander on the lead dreadnought laughed. A harsh, grinding sound. Human tricks, he said. Fire everything. Break their little toys. Beams lit space. Torpedoes flew. The fleet pushed forward like a storm. Then the grid answered. First came the gravity traps. Invisible wells deep in space. Vexari ships hit them. Engines screamed. Hulls bent. Some folded in half. Others spun wild and crashed into each other. No explosions yet. Just silence and ruin. Next, the mass drivers spoke. Long rails on distant rocks fired. Slugs moved at speeds that broke light a little. They hit shields. Shields flashed white, then died. Metal vaporized. Whole sections of ships vanished in clean cuts. Drones swarmed. Black shapes smaller than fighters. They danced between dreadnoughts. Fired thin beams that ignored armor. Cut engines. Cut weapons. Cut life support. Vexari fighters tried to chase them. The drones moved like thoughts. Fast, sharp, gone before anyone aimed. Do-hyun watched it all. Funnel them, he ordered. Into Sector 7. The grid obeyed. Drones herded the fleet. Pushed them toward a quiet spot near Jupiter. The Vexari thought they broke through. They cheered on their bridges. Then the singularity bombs went off. Small black spheres appeared. Each one pulled hard. Gravity twisted. Ships bent toward the centers. Metal screamed as it stretched. Some ships crumpled like paper. Others tore apart. The pull grew. Light bent. Time slowed for those inside. Then nothing. Just dark holes where fleets used to be. A Vexari admiral's ship survived longer. Its commander broadcast again, voice shaking now. Humans, stop. We demand parley. Do-hyun answered. After you came to burn our home. We did not know. You knew 3,000 years ago. You agreed to leave us alone. You broke it. Silence on the other end. Do-hyun continued. We could end your worlds now. Glass them. Crack them. But we won't. Not today. The admiral whispered. Why? Because we don't need to. You already lost. The screen showed the battle. Vexari ships died by the hundreds. Human losses? None. Not one pilot, not one station, nothing. In a holding cell on Luna Base, a captured Vexari admiral sat. Tall. Crystal skin cracked in places. He looked at the human guard through the clear wall. The guard was young. Corporal Ji-hoon. Same name as the Admiral back in Seoul, but different man. He leaned against the wall eating an apple. The Admiral spoke. "How are you so calm? Your people laugh while we die." Ji-hoon took a bite, chewed, swallowed. "We waited 3,000 years for someone dumb enough to try," he said. "It's kind of funny." The Admiral stared. "You prepared all this time?" Ji-hoon shrugged. "We had time. You gave it to us." He finished the apple, threw the core in a bin. "Want water?" he asked. The Admiral looked away. Back on Hwarong, Do-hun watched the last ships break and run. Some jumped away, most did not make it. He turned to his crew. "Secure the field. Help any survivors who signal. No torture, no revenge, just hold them." Crew members nodded. Quiet cheers filled the bridge. Not loud, just proud. On Earth, people watched feeds from home. Some clapped, some hugged. Kids pointed at the screen and said, "Our side won." In Seoul, Rear Admiral Ji-hoon Kim stood in the command center. Captain Ha-yoon Park beside him. She smiled. They really thought numbers mattered. Ji-hoon looked at the stars. They always do, until they don't. He sent one last message to the Vexari homeworlds. Short, clear. Your armadas are broken. Your emperor's words mean nothing now. We don't want your empire. We never did. The truce was for your safety, not ours. Stay home. Rebuild if you can. But if you come again, we won't laugh. We'll finish it. The message went out. No anger, no joy, just fact. Across the galaxy, other species watched, silent, amazed. Some had feared the Vexari for ages. Now they saw humans, calm, patient, deadly when needed. On a rooftop in Busan, Ha-yoon Park sat later that night. Stars above, city below. She held a small glass of soju. Friends around her. They talked soft. One friend asked, "Think it's over?" Ha-yoon looked up. "For now. Another 3,000 years of peace, or until the next idiot shows up." They laughed, clinked glasses. The stars stayed quiet. The grid powered down. Drones went back to sleep. Ships returned to hidden yards. Earth turned. People slept, dreamed normal dreams. And somewhere far away, the Vexari Emperor sat alone in his broken throne room. For the first time, he felt small. The Vexari homeworlds lay open now. Their great fleets were gone. Broken ships drifted in space like dead leaves. The crystal cities on their main planet, Vexar Prime, still shone under twin suns, but the light felt colder. Guards stood at every gate. People moved quietly in the streets. No one spoke loud. Fear hung in the air like smoke. In the huge throne room at the center of the palace, the emperor sat alone. His robe looked too big on him now. His purple eyes stared at nothing. Screens around the throne showed the same thing over and over. Empty space where his armadas used to be. Reports came in soft voices from officers who feared to speak too much. No ships respond. Communications silent. Human forces hold position but do not advance. He knew what that meant. They could come. They could end everything. But they waited. On Earth, Rear Admiral Ji-hoon Kim stood in the orbital command center. The room was quiet. Most screens showed normal life. Cargo ships moving, weather patterns, kids playing in parks on colony worlds. One big screen showed the Vexari home system. Blue dots marked human ships. They stayed far out. No closer, no attack. Captain Ha-yoon Park walked in with 2 cups of coffee. She handed one to Ji-hoon. "Still nothing from them?" He took the cup. "Not yet, but they will speak soon." She looked at the screen. "We could finish this today." Ji-hoon shook his head. "We don't need to. They already understand." He pressed a button. A message appeared on his desk screen. It was ready. Short. Final. He read it once more, then sent it. The message reached Vexar Prime on every channel. No fancy hologram this time, just words and a calm voice. Ji-hoon's voice. Vexari people, your fleets are broken. Your emperor's orders led to this. We do not want your stars. We never did. The truce lasted 3,000 years because we chose peace. You ended it. Now you see the cost. We will not burn your cities. We will not break your planet. But hear this clearly. If any ship leaves your space with weapons pointed at us again, we will not wait. We will not warn. We will end it completely. Rebuild. Learn. Stay in your place. The galaxy is big enough for both of us. But not if you try this again. This is not mercy. This is fact. The message ended. No threats after that. No pictures of destruction. Just silence. On Vexar Prime, crowds gathered in public squares. Huge screens showed the words. People read them. Some cried. Some stood still. An old Vexari scholar stepped forward. His voice shook as he spoke to those around him. They speak truth. We thought them weak. We thought time made us stronger. But time made them patient. We woke the wrong thing. In the throne room the emperor listened. His guards waited for orders. None came. He stood slowly. His legs looked weak. He walked to a balcony that looked over the city. Wind moved his robe. Hello? People looked up. They saw him. They waited. He raised one hand, not in anger, in surrender. I was wrong, he said. His voice carried on speakers across the planet. The war is over. We accept their terms. No more fleets. No more claims. We kneel. He lowered his head, the first emperor in history to do so. The galaxy watched. Other species sent quiet messages. Some thanked humans. Some asked questions. Humans answered the same way. Short, calm, no bragging. On New Busan, Governor Min-sek Lee sat with his daughter Seo-yun in their garden. The sun set over green fields. Stars started to appear. Seo-yun looked up. Dad, is it really over? He nodded. Yes, they learned. She smiled. Good. I like peace. He laughed softly. Me too. In Seoul, Jeon Han closed the old files on Project Laughing Tiger. She put them back in their secure box. The box locked with a soft click. She looked out her window at the city lights. 3,000 years, she said to the empty room. Well spent. Under Jeju Island, Tae-woo Choi and his team shut down the big machines. Lights dimmed, engines cooled. They cleaned tools and put them away. Tae-woo wiped his hands on a rag. Think we'll need them again? Ji-won shrugged. Maybe in another 3,000 years. They laughed. Someone opened a bottle of cold drinks. They toasted quietly. To waiting well. In Busan, Ha-eun Park stood on the same rooftop. Night air felt cool. The sea smelled salty. Friends sat around small tables. Laughter floated up from the streets below. She raised her glass. Soju sparkled in the light. To another 3,000 years of peace, she said, or at least until the next idiot shows up. Everyone laughed. Glasses clinked. Someone started a song, an old Korean folk tune. Others joined in, voices mixed with the sound of waves. Above them, the stars looked peaceful. No fleets, no threats, just quiet light. On Luna Base, the captured Vexari admiral sat in his cell. The wall was clear. Corporal Ji-hoon walked by with a tray of food, simple rice and vegetables. He slid it through the slot. The admiral looked up. Why feed me? Ji-hoon shrugged. Because you're still alive. And we don't kill for fun. The admiral stared at the food, then at the human. Your people, you laugh at death. No, Ji-hoon said. We laugh because we don't need to cause it. Big difference. He walked away. The admiral ate slowly. For the first time, he felt something new. Not fear, not hate. Respect. Small, but real. Days passed. Weeks. Human ships pulled back. Drones slept again. The grid went quiet. Life returned to normal. People lurked, loved, dreamed. Children on Mars played under domes. They made up games about the big laugh. Aliens came. Humans smiled. Aliens ran away. The kids laughed every time. In Seoul streets, old men told stories to grandchildren. Long ago we waited, and waiting won. The grandchildren listened with big eyes. Then they ran off to play. The stars above stayed the same. One night Ji-hoon Kim stood alone on a balcony high in the city. He looked at Earth from above, blue and green, alive, strong. He smiled, not big, just small, satisfied. 3,000 years, he said to the night, and we're still here. The wind answered with silence. Somewhere far away on Vexar Prime, a young Vexari looked at the sky. No more war drums, no more pride speeches, just quiet rebuilding. He whispered to himself, never again, and the stars listened. Peace held, not because of fear alone, but because both sides finally understood. One side had laughed, the other had learned why.